No
Yeah, no
countdown.
countdown.
No countdown. Why not,
No
Luke?
countdown. No countdown today. Oh, Lucy, 20 minutes early. Go on.
Come on, Lucy. I
There
think I
she
think what
is.
we need to do a giveaway, Luke, 1 week. Whoever can be earlier than Lucy wins. So Lucy
I
can't
don't,
win because she's always here first. I don't think it's possible.
I don't think you can beat that. I'm not sure you can.
I don't know. Someone like a £5 cost of gift card, you're going to be in the stream like 7 hours before.
Yeah.
You got to wait the whole
Oh.
time. That's the rule.
All right, John's in as well. Yes, it is. I see you, mate. But yeah, how was your weekend, mate? How's your week been? What you been up to? You been good?
Solid week. Solid week on the bay. Terrible weekend. Went to the car boot sale yesterday, and it's too early for car boot sales, I believe. Controversial. There's going to be probably people in there saying, "What are you going on about, you idiot? I've been smashing in the car boot." But for me, driving 45 minutes for a cold, damp car boot sale with like 2 rows and pitch black, no, thank you. So I'm either going to do one or two things: wait until March, or hopefully find one more local and give that a go. But yeah, apart from that, eBay's been solid, mate. It's been really strong for me. Sales are up, business is good, getting some good bits in, so I cannot complain at all. But what about you, Luke? How was your week since you were on here?
In terms of work, in terms of everything, it's been an absolute meh because I think it was Thursday. I was driving down to get my driving down to get the orders in the morning. This was about 5:30. I think
Yeah.
I left. It's getting there. No, actually, sorry. It was about, yeah, was it around about then? Either way, it was crack of dawn. Time I get up, go down to the unit, crossing the roundabout, and someone completely goes into the side of me. And car, I think at the moment is completely written off. And it was just a shocking experience. I've never really been involved in like a car crash or anything. So I was just like traumatized from Thursday onwards. Like, and this has really sparked this whole conversation about whether you get ill, injured, or anything like that. So yeah, it was shocking. So pretty much the last 3 or 4 days, I've been hobbling about, not really doing too much, and yeah, it's just absolute nightmare, mate. I wouldn't wish it on anyone, to be honest.
And you pinged me across a picture of the car on WhatsApp, and we can have a little bit, not really a laugh, but we have had a couple of laughs about it now. But at the time, like, pretty damn serious. Like, it was, luckily it was on the passenger backside, and you don't have a passenger in the car because it's pretty darn whack. So most importantly, you're here to come and do the podcast today. Otherwise, that would have been the end of Bold-Clobber.
Mate, Bold-Clobber would be non-existent if that was on the driver's side. And I would, I'm using my phone now, but yeah, I'll show you guys the damage. It was absolutely shocking. So I think the car's gone, courtesy car at the minute, which I can just about get about in, which is not ideal, but yeah, bad, mate, bad. But we're here, we're good. That's the main thing, healthy. So we're cracking on. And I think pretty much I'm like almost, like, I'd say 90-95%. So pretty much, yeah, back to normal business. But yeah, over the weekend, pretty much nothing, mate.
Do you want to
So, yeah.
share the picture with the people? I've got the picture. I can share, and if you want, I can send it over. It's up to you.
No, you could put it in there, mate. But
All right.
yeah, I'll yeah, if anyone's interested. But yeah, I wouldn't.
Interesting.
I don't really want to chat. I just wanted to let people know that's the reason why.
Yeah, I know, but the truth of the matter is, and what I've said about you before is, you took yourself off down to like the walk-in to get checked out, and then you were like messaging me like, I'm just going to do some photos. You do not stop.
But that's the thing. It's like, and this is what I want to speak about with like the draft bank and things like that. Like, I had a decent-ish draft bank, but so I could have just sat there, got the listings up, and then got help from like even my missus or mum or anything like that to do the shipping.
Yeah.
But I was like, even though I could barely walk, I was like, I hate just sitting down doing nothing. Like, I don't just like, I actually enjoy this work, but I just hate being unproductive. I hate just sitting there. Even when I'm ill, I'm like, I still got to try and drag myself to the gym, or I still got to try and do something. When really, like, everyone knows the best course is to just like rest, just like chill for a bit, get over it, and then get back to it when you're ready. But I'm
Yeah.
nothing like that. I have to do stuff, and it's awful.
And the thing we were talking about was part of the conversation today, and we spoke about many a times, is like, what is that emergency backup plan? And a lot of us, including myself, take it for granted. You kind of feel that every day is going to be the same. It's never going to happen to me. And like you had a car accident. It could be anything. You could break your leg. You know, I was speaking to Luke before we went live. I've agreed to play in a charity 11-a-side football match in June in goal. Like, I haven't played football for years, like well before like lockdown times. All it takes for me is to like get smashed by a striker, break my arm.
Yeah.
It's one arm, you know. It's all these little precautions that you need to take and stuff. But yeah, it's
But even when I don't know if you've ever been, but I went to a place called Toca Social, and it's
yes,
you know
right,
the thing at O2, and I don't know if you guys have been there as well, but you just shoot balls at targets and they play games, everything like that. It's one of these like cool places where you can get a group of your mates and just go there and just have like a kick about at a target. And I'm not even joking, even after like 20 strikes of a ball, thinking that I'm like 10 years younger again, my quad was done for at least a month. Like
yeah.
the muscle in my quad was finished for ages. So like, yeah, going back to doing a 5-a-side or something like that, like I'm blowing after a couple of minutes.
Why do you think I'm playing?
You gotta watch yourself, mate.
Let's run in goal.
Yeah, if anyone's interested, that is that's the side of the car. Yeah, it's so scary looking at it now. Yeah, so just completely smashed. That window came through. And
what was your message on the day? I think your message was like eventful start to the morning or something like
it
that.
was so no, because I was in the minor injury unit and I was like, right, this is this is an eventful start. Because they said, I was like, because they said, like, do you want an ambulance come out? I was like, yeah, like get him here. Like, because I wanted to be checked over. And they said, yeah, it's going to be about a 17-hour wait. And I was like, what? Are you joking? And they said, no, there's a woman that's not breathing. About it was like half an hour down the road, like unresponsive. And they said it's going to take 6 hours to get to her. And I'm like, the woman's not breathing. And mate, it's crazy the way that the I don't know if it's like the NHS or just the ambulance service or anything. It's crazy how it is.
Anyway, that's not going to help us solve eBay issues, but
Definitely not.
aside, well, I'm glad you're all right, mate. Because I said more for the podcast. I don't really care about you as a person, but
We need to keep going. We haven't missed a week yet, so
we need to at least get Luke monetized before disaster strikes. But so what emergency plans do you have then? Because we spoke many times about draft bank, etc. And I'll speak about mine now. I'm super guilty. I have not got a draft bank at the moment. I'm very much listing day by day by day by day. The thing that does restrict me is like having a full day off. But now with the new model, I'm getting all my eBay day done normally by 8, half 8, maybe 9 o'clock at a push. So it does leave me the rest of the day to do other things, including sourcing. But I'm in that boat that if I was to suddenly get a flu where I couldn't physically get out of bed, like I will have to crawl down here to do work. And we all know when you're ill, like last thing you want to be doing is forcing yourself to work. So what is in your draft bank at the moment? And I guess that has been knocked a bit from this accident.
I think I've got about 50. I think it's probably dead on 50 in the draft bank at the minute. But the way that I see it is, so I've got 12 going live. So in the morning, 13 at the minute. So 13 going live, and then I will picture and list or picture and draft around 15 to 20. I'll say 15 minimum because I want to do about 10% over. So then it builds on it, say 10% per day. So 50 at the minute, what's that, like 4 days worth?
Yeah.
But I want it at like 7 to 10 days. Probably like a goal would be like 14 days, but it's going to take a lot to get it to that point. So I'll like draft and list, say 10, 20% more than I need to per day to gradually build it up so that if anything does happen, say like this or ill or anything like that, then I can list from that. But that's what I just think the draft bank is so, I don't know, it's so important. It's crazy because I sit there and think, I mean, any sort of like illness or any injury or anything like that, hopefully you could recover fully, depending on what it is, really.
Of course.
Like 2 weeks max, hopefully, whatever it is. So, I mean, I don't know how we could build up a draft bank for, say, more than 2 weeks. I mean, you probably can, but then the draft bank alone, I mean, I don't know if it's still like this, but is the 250 still the limit? Because
I
this
think they've
depends on
changed it back now. I think it's thousands again. No, at one point I think it was two. I think they put it back to where you can draft thousands. But I'd personally not want more than 250 in there, knowing that I've heard horror stories of people getting them deleted. But I think it has gone back to thousands and stuff as well. But it's not just, we were speaking about this, wasn't we, on the day? It's not just the draft bank, because not listing on eBay is one thing. Like, we all want to, like, you know, for me and you, and when I say we all, for me and Luke, like, we want to do that daily consistent listing is what we look to do for our business. But we were speaking about that isn't even the main issue. If you was to miss a day listing, okay, it's not great for your own personal, but it's not going to sink your ship. But when it comes to actually posting out orders, especially as we do same day dispatch, you know, for Luke, in that accident on the Thursday, he's still got orders that need shipping on the Thursday. So if you was rushed off to hospital, if it was more serious than what it was, who is going to then step into your shoes to make sure that when you are recovered out of hospital, you've still got an eBay store to come back to? That's the bit that always worries me. If for whatever reason I couldn't physically ship my items or be in a state to advise someone how to do it, what would happen to my store? And when I did recover, what happens at that point?
This is the thing as well. The draft bank, you can get that up as much as you, depending on. So basically, what we do is we list every single day. So say I'm listing 13 and I'm building up 15 every single day. So I've got a couple in the draft bank extra per day, and then eventually build up to a day's worth, 2 days worth, 3 days worth. And then say if something happens, I'm fine in terms of listings. That's okay. But
Yeah.
like you said, it's the shipping. So thankfully my missus knows how to pick the orders, ship the orders, and she knows customer service. She knows everything. So if anything happens to me, she can literally fill in. And she works a full-time job as well. And she would literally, and she said it there and then, she was like, how many do I need to list today? How many do I need to ship after I'm finished? So she's there, like, ready. But for a lot of people, it's probably not the case. So would you say that, like, as soon as something happens, if you're doing same day shipping, fair enough, someone might have to get those out then. But are you going to jump straight to, say, handling time, and you're going to push that way out? Do you think that's a...
Yeah, I think I would want to, but we've got to always remember there's a 48-hour lag. For anything you've sent offers out on, you've got to wait 48 hours. So they will still be on that old stuff anyway. So, yeah, the ideal thing is to do that, to extend your handling time. But I go back, and I've been saying for ages, like, I need to sit down with Leanne and do it. I need to sit down with Leanne and do it. And I always think of a million and one other things to do other than sit with Leanne and show her how to extend dispatch, how to find the orders, come down to the garages with me, let me show you the SKU system, how to use the label printer, how to print orders, the basics. You know, if it means I don't get any listings up for 2 weeks, okay, it's crap, but you can recover from that. But when it comes to that postage side, she still does not have a clue. Could she work it out? Probably, because what she would probably do is get in contact with yourself or Jamie or someone else who'll be able to talk her through it. And I said to you that on the same day, I said, if like your brother or Luce needs help with the shipping, get them to give me a shout, and I don't mind helping. You've always got people you can reach out to, but for a lot of people, when you are doing this so independently on your own, your partner might not know who to contact and who to go to for advice. So they are basically learning eBay as a brand new beginner. Now, there is lots of information where they could find the answers to, but their main concern is going to be about you compared to making sure your orders get shipped out on time. That's the other thing. So I always like to think, like, if me and Leanne were in an accident together or something happened to us both, who's next in line? Who can then come and support and change my dispatch time, get my orders out so I do have something to come back to? It's just something that you don't really think about until something happens. And even with Thursday with you, it made me kind of look at it again and say, like, oh yeah, that could happen to anyone at any point.
That's what I mean. And we speak about, like, having stuff as backups, like not probably not as extreme as like backup laptops, but probably printers, everything really. But to have measures in place where people can just kind of like slot in, I think that, I don't know, is that a bit of a luxury to just have people to be able to do that? Because so many people are probably just going to say, you know, if it's that bad, I'm just going to shut off my store. I don't care about that. But so many people are going to be like self-employed and probably need the income as well. So, you know.
Yeah, but the thing is with eBay, it depends, isn't it? Because if we're talking in a weird way, you kind of want it to happen on like a Wednesday compared to a Monday. If you're going to,
Yeah, just pick what it is. Yeah,
yeah,
again.
because at the end of the day, over the weekend, if you don't ship over the weekend, like for me today, it came into like 46 orders. Like that could literally kill my eBay store. Whereas if it's 6 or 7 orders, yeah, you might get 6 defects. It might drop you down a level, and you might be able to bounce back from that. But you know, there is disaster stories where people haven't shipped X amount of items, and eBay have just gone bang, don't care, closing you down. So I think when you say luxury, yes, it is. Like, you know, I'm not going to suddenly go away and say, Luke, I'm going to go away for 2 weeks. Can you come to my house and ship my orders every day? That's a luxury. But if there was an absolute emergency, I want to have someone else who can just come and fix it for a day, ship the orders, turn my store off or extend handling, whatever you need to do, take control of all of that, just so, like as I say, you do come back to something.
Yeah. And I think that's where your systems need to be kind of tight as well. You need to have decent systems. So for like the picking, your inventory system, like we've spoke about inventory storage and stuff like that. I mean, we have the box method where they're kind of like through shelves, and it's very, very easy for someone to literally just walk in there and go straight to that number. They don't have to go through boxes. They don't have to sift through loads of items. They can just go straight to it. So that sort of stuff is very easy for someone. Maybe, and then the put away should be fairly simple as well. But the shipping side, I think it looks really simple for someone like me and you to go onto like the shipping section and then just sort the orders that way. But more so the one by one shipping is probably going to be very good for someone. And that's what I've moved to. I moved off to parcel to go. I just went eBay one by one shipping, literally
Yeah.
Control F, type in the SKU, and then it will go straight to that and then just print. And then just basically you could tell them, you know, do everything with Yodel on this weight or whatever. Or if it's a little bit heavier, then weigh them. I don't think it'd be that hard to teach someone. And it's probably going to be extremely useful if something like this happens. Because I think James spoke literally in the comments here. Let me just bring that up. And you were speaking about it as well. Like it could absolutely cripple you if you had 40 to 50 orders going out. And then, I mean, you probably are pushing volume at that point. But if you're not, say that's the weekend orders and then something happens to you on a Monday, oh my God, your store's going to get battered.
It's true what James saying there. Like, yeah, eBay have something where, like, he's saying they're 50% late delivery and still be above standard, but it's the comeback from there as well. I've been top rated for so long, and it is true. If you are a top rated seller on eBay, you do get more traffic. It's a fact. I've seen people like below standard, above standard, just saying that I'm not seeing anything on my items. So it can cripple you in that sense. And you know, I know at the end of the day, like your health is wealth, and that's the truth. Like the most important thing is that you do end up coming out of hospital, firstly, but you also then have to at some point get back on that horse to pay the bills. So I want to make sure that I can say, do you know what? Yeah, it's going to be a bit of a struggle. There's going to be 2 weeks where my store was off, so it's probably going to take another 2 or 3 weeks for it to come live again. Really, I re-index everything. So full steam ahead, take the hit for a month, but at least we're still going. So yeah, it just makes you think about that plan. And like I am so unplanned for when it comes to me, because we all know when you go on holiday, you plan. You say, right, I've got a holiday coming up here, so I'm going to do X amount leading up to the holiday. This is what I'm going to do during the holiday, and when I come back, this is what I'm going to have to do, a big shipping day. So you plan for that. But things happen in life, don't they? So you just, yeah. Can you ever be completely planned? Probably not.
I don't know. I mean, unless you did every single one of those and you had a massive draft bank, you had a queue full of items, you have someone, either a family member or like a spouse or anything that knows the system down to a T, and they could fill in for you from a little bit and get the shipping out. Hopefully you could still do customer service, but you can only be so covered. But if you have absolutely no one and you're kind of okay with money and you was to turn your store completely off, it's basically like holiday mode. But you just need to be aware that, I mean, from what we've seen and what we've spoke to for other people, is the fact that they would come back and then it could be around 4 to 6 weeks before they actually start seeing those consistent sales that they were seeing previously before they went away.
Yeah.
So if you're aware of that, then you could just be like, okay, I'm turning it off. Health is everything to me. I'm just relaxing. I'm getting complete rest that I need. And then I know that in a month's time, it should be back to normal. Yeah, let me clear James's. Alison was saying something as well. Nice to see you back, Alison. Glad you're okay. I'm lucky with my hubby does packing and answers my questions that people have asked while I'm away pet sitting at people's homes. I take a list of pictures so I can list daily. Draft bank 50. Yeah, so she takes the. So I take pictures so that I can list daily. So yeah, she'd still be listing, but yeah, she's got a husband that does the packaging and answers the questions as well. So she's got someone that can partly fill in as well.
Yeah, that's good. I've thought about that before, about whether it's worth taking an extra 100, 200 sets of photos and just having them on your laptop. But that is effectively the draft bank, isn't it? Do your photos and then make it 200 listings and do it that way. But there's been many times when I've come down here and I've taken like 40 sets of photos and then gone inside and listed and drafted them that way. So yeah, there is a way. Again, if you're going to be away somewhere and you do have access to your laptop and you might have a spare hour or two every day, it's a good thing to do. I think take loads of photos before you go, and then you can at least draft when you're away. If you don't want to straight up doing it all before you go, you know.
I have that as well. I've told you a few times where I just love doing a massive photo session. It's completely out of the normal routine, but I'm just like, I mean, I don't know if you guys can see it back there, but the queue is huge now. Just where I've still been buying stuff.
You got a stack.
Yeah, but I haven't managed to like picture, and I haven't managed to do other stuff. So it's literally the pile has just been rising and rising and rising because I've still been buying stuff because I buy pretty much 100% online. So the stuff's still been coming through to the door and still been going on the pile. But yeah, sometimes I just really want to do a massive photo session and then the following day just a massive drafting session, just something a little bit different. But yeah, if you're going away, then that's a good idea because once I've got the pictures, I'm fine. All I need is a laptop from that point.
That's it.
We've got Sarah.
Hi, Sarah.
It's always worthwhile to get yourself an emergency fund set aside for these instances. Yeah, so you've spoken about emergency funds before, actually. Do you have one then?
We do. We call it like, I mean, most people call it. It's not like something that we made up in our household, like the rainy day fund. And it's not just for it's not eBay money effectively. It's for things such as like if the boiler goes down, or if we need a new back door, the back door breaks. So we've got a pot of money where we can kind of say we don't touch it, we just let it build, and if we need to dip into it, we will do. But it's not the kind of money we look at and suddenly go, oh yeah, let's book a holiday. It's not like fun money; it's that emergency fund. So yeah, having that emergency bank is so important. And again, I think it's a lot of time. Again, a lot of people, including myself at times, don't even consider that because we all assume that everything's always going to be okay. So if you can have an emergency fund, I think that's a great idea.
So do you have it for a specific time? Because a lot of people speak about it that you have an emergency fund for X amount of time. So like a week, a month, 6 months, a year. Just literally whenever you can add to it. You just do that.
Yeah. And if we need something urgently, there's always like I put out a video the other week saying about how things are struggling. Like I have a substantial amount of savings, which I don't want to dip into. But again, I know, for instance, if there was an absolute emergency, I don't know, say Leanne's car broke tomorrow and we need to go and buy her a new car and she didn't have the money to buy a car. Like we've got the money to go and buy that car so she can continue working. But it's money where it's kind of out of the way where you never want to dip into. So yeah, it just keeps growing and like it has to be an emergency. It's not like, oh, should we get a Nando's? Let's dip into the emergency fund.
Yeah, should we have a takeaway tonight?
Yeah.
Not one of them. Gentleman marketeer, Simon's in. I think you can overthink stuff. Sometimes it's better to not to worry about things that might not happen. Yeah. I mean, you can do. I like to be semi-prepared. So I mean, if I didn't I don't know, I go back to the draft bank every single time, but if I wasn't adding to this, I think I'd have been screwed because I'm so much on the consistency and the daily listing. But yeah, I mean, what do you think about that then? Do you think we can overthink this a little bit?
I think you can overthink everything in life. Like at the end of the day, we all know what it's like. If you're sitting there randomly, you think about, oh, what happens when you actually die? It plays in your mind. And it's the worst scary feeling. You feel like you feel sick. And then 5 minutes later, guess what? You don't think about that. It's like them little things. You can overthink things. But I think for this, if you don't think about it and something does happen, you're going to look back and say, do you know what? I wish I did. It'll be one of them regret things, I feel. And like, yeah, don't get me wrong. If you're involved in something and it wipes you out, you don't really care anyway. But for me, I'd rather have some kind of plan in place. Now, I'm not talking about a military operation. I'm talking about a basic plan to make sure I can come back and do eBay.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. Yeah, I mean, especially with the listing stuff, like if I'm listing, say 10-20% more per day, I don't think it's like going crazy. It's just a nice little thing to add to the business. But yeah, he's saying here, control the controllable. Yeah. So,
until it's uncontrollable, I guess.
I mean, I was even sitting there thinking, like, if I'd have left, like, this was crazy. It was so pointless. I was sitting there thinking, if I'd have just left the house 3 seconds earlier or 3 seconds later, I wouldn't have been in that collision. I'm
Yeah,
sitting there going, why am I thinking about this? It
yeah,
doesn't
but
matter.
I agree what Simon just put there for that instance, because you can't control that. At the end of the day,
No.
you could have left 5 minutes later, and it could have hit your driver's side. So you just don't know. At the end of the day, it's one of them things where you can't control that aspect. But what you can control in the future is what is the plan? Because luckily you managed to walk out of that car. It could have been a whole lot worse. And then would Lucy know what to do?
She pretty much knows, I would say she knows about 80% of the business, probably more.
I said to Leanne, I've got 20 orders here that need shipping. She'd have to go and watch the Bold Finds YouTube video on how
She'd
to
have to tune into us.
No, she'd go and watch the video on how to print postage labels available on the Bold Finds channel. Plug.
Yeah. I mean, like I say, she's pretty prepared, and like what Alison was saying, you can do packing, answer questions, stuff like that. But yeah, so a lot of people won't have that. So it's more so for those people as well, because I mean, we're full-time, we're self-employed, so we get wiped out, the money gets wiped out. So I think it's useful to speak about. But apart from those things, I don't really know what more you can be doing. So, I mean, if any of you guys have got any other ideas, because just like what Alison was saying there, and I think I can't remember who else was saying it as well, but if you have any other ideas in terms of like prepping, or if you was to get ill, what do you do? Then that'd be useful to put in there for the guys, and something that we can read out as well. But other than that, mate, I think I don't know. Have you got anything more on that? Do you think there's anything else that we didn't cover?
No, I think if anything, it's been an eye opener to me, not just about the emergency, but also the draft bank as well. At one point, my draft bank was pretty high, and I think switching the model for me, I don't have a draft bank like I used to, because I'm not buying and listing as much as I used to, in a weird way. Which you would think could go the opposite. You would think you're listing less, you should have a bigger draft bank because you're actually only doing like 10 a day. But for me, I'm spending up a little bit more on stock, but the items are just going into the store and selling so quick. So I think for me to build up a draft bank, it would have to be an opportunity where I get a lot of items come in that hit the metrics at the same time. Yeah. So it'd be a case of, them deals where you don't expect, and then suddenly you're going to pick up like 500 items that all hit the metrics. Then that's the perfect opportunity for me to smash through and maybe do another 24-hour stream and get that draft bank built up. But in a weird way, we're talking about being safe. And I don't have a draft bank to be safe, but I feel the safest I've ever felt in my business, which is mad, because on paper, it doesn't look safe. Because as I said, if I wake up tomorrow and I fall down the stairs and break my arm, like I'm literally at the point of where, okay, I've got no draft now. So what do? I don't list, or I have to suffer through it. So yeah, I want to get the draft bank up. I think for me at the moment, a week's enough. I mean, we're going away on holiday, but it's not over a weekend kind of thing. But I think a week for me is a good enough draft bank at the moment.
Yeah, I think you're pretty secure at a week. I mean, more than a week might be excessive, and it might take a long time to do. But unless you're doing I mean, how many did you get up in that 24-hour live? I mean, yeah, I'm not recommending anyone do anything like that, because it's stupid. But
we got 140 in the draft bank on the 24 hours, but that was as an everything seller. And the clothing side, the second time round, like, don't get me wrong, if you work 24 hours without being on a live stream, you can do a lot more. It's all the stop-start, it's all the interaction, it's all the talking, it's all the clicking and reading. So, yeah, you don't have to do that. But I think if you've got the stock available, if you said to yourself, I'm going to do an 8-hour or 12-hour shift on eBay, you could easily get a 1-week draft, depending on how many you list. If you're listing 40 a day, maybe not. But if you're listing, say, 5 a day, you can easily get a 1-week, maybe 2-week draft.
Yeah.
But you've got to have the stuff there, and I'm not willing to chuck rubbish in the draft bank just to say I've got a draft bank, I'm safe.
That's what I mean, especially if you're like, say you're 80-90% online as well. I think the cost of goods are definitely way more than, say, car boots.
Yeah.
So in order to get a massive, like, I mean, this is just accumulated over probably like a week or so. So that's that's a lot of items. So I could effectively do a massive session there, like a massive photo session. But yeah, you got to have the stuff there available to do it.
And I think what you said there, car boots may help with that, because it's not just the online side, it's going to be the car boot side as well. So I might go to the car boot, I might pick up 50, 60 items over the weekend at a car boot. And on top of that, I've got all of my online stuff as well. So I've got 60 extra items sitting there for the week. Perfect opportunity to chuck them up for the draft bank as well. But as I said, like I could go out tomorrow and go and get 40 items to put in the draft bank, which don't hit the metrics, and it just defeats the point of what I'm trying to do.
Yeah, I mean, you'd rather, personally, I'd rather miss than put terrible stuff in my store. Unless I've literally got it for nothing and it's incredibly fast sell-through rate. So, and I think you're probably in a similar position to that as well.
Yeah.
Leanne Hill, I did a crib sheet for my husband to show him how to list, but I need to do one regarding printing labels. So, I mean, if we think about that as well, say if you did go down injured, ill, anything like that, and you just had a sheet, whether it's like a Excel or Word or even on paper, where you literally just went from what you do in the mornings to say, like, going to the unit, picking the orders like this, then shipping like this, customer service answer these sort of messages, like, unless you're literally like bedbound, you can't do it. That, I mean, that could be, and just say like bullet pointed, so it was just quite easy for someone to understand. Yeah, that might be a little hack.
Yeah, I always think about this and what Leanne's saying there. Could, for instance, you take a laptop to a high street, stop someone in the street, say, take a seat here, here's my laptop, here's my eBay account, here's a sheet, I need you to list this item. I would say 99.9% people probably could list the item. It might not be at the quality that you would do it, but it's not rocket science when it comes to actual listing the item. I think the science comes in where you get the item to the point where it becomes higher ranked in search. I think there's a bit of science involved there. But just to literally follow it down from top to bottom and fill in the title and the description, I think most people do that. When it comes to the item specifics, probably not so much. So I think having a guide for someone is great, and even if it's just to get you by. It might be a case of that when you come back, you might have to go through the previous listings and make them better. But I think for most people, that's very basic and very simple to do.
You probably say like listing is probably the most daunting thing on eBay. Like, it's the most confusing. It's the most, like, I don't know, because obviously you've got the title, you got the pictures, you got the item specs, you got description, you got everything. But say you had the draft bank that we're speaking about. Say the listings are fine, that's all good. Just picking, shipping, and then like customer services where you could pretty much advise as well. I think it is quite simple, the rest of it. So relaying that information over to someone else, I don't think it'd be that bad.
Yeah, I think explaining to someone how to take photos is a lot easier than explaining to someone how to list.
Yeah, I think actually she had a follow-up as well. Wouldn't the community be able to step in and help other resellers if an emergency happened?
Yeah, that's what we're saying before. I think the community as a whole, I don't think you can rely on it that way. I think you need to be in contact with people who, A, you can rely on, and B, you can trust to do that as well. Because if you just kind of, say for instance, I don't know, Leanne done a post on my YouTube community page. James has gone down. I need someone local to us here in Addlestone who can come and ship his orders. I don't think there'll be many people who will actually like take that up, apart from people who like I'm close to and I speak to on like a regular basis. So I think it's important to have other resellers who you speak to, who you can trust for that, who you can pass their number on to a partner and they can get in contact. And Benji's saying he would save me, but Benji is definitely not coming anywhere near my eBay store.
Yeah,
but
don't let him know near you.
Like, just even having a way, like Leanne knows you, she knows Jamie, she knows Simon, to name 3 people straight away. So she would straight away get in contact with one of you 3 to say, this is an emergency, I need help. And I know, again, from knowing you guys and being friends with you guys, all three of you would be straight on the phone to her helping her out. Maybe not Jamie so much. Jamie will be like, let me just get my listing done. Let me just do this. But you and Simon will be on the phone to Leanne straight away and saying, don't worry about it. Don't stress about it. We've got you covered. So I think it's important with the community to actually build that relationship of people who you can trust with your heart. So, yeah, I completely agree. And
so more so, yeah. So more so, rather than like a wider community, you could probably go on Instagram. You could probably put a post on your YouTube or anything like that, and people would probably, because people do like helping as well. People like advising, people like helping. But if it's more so about if you've got a tight knit group of friends where you can literally give them a call there and then they're going to pretty much walk you through it or help you out, because they're going to know your listings, they're going to know what you're about on eBay and everything like that. So if you've got a tight knit group of people around you that can really help you, then yeah, if they're struggling and they don't know what to do and it's hard for you to communicate to them, maybe they could help and walk you through it. So
well, yeah, it's just like, for instance, if Simon called me tomorrow and said, like, mate, I'm up against it, I need you to come and help me ship my orders, like, I would go and help him. And that's the difference. It's like, you got to have the people around you who will do it for you as well as you doing it for them as well.
Yeah, and I'll go back to Simon's one because obviously he was before, but I can't underestimate like a draft bank and this and a SKU system. This SKU system changed everything. And we were speaking, I think we did a whole episode and I named it the best thing that happened to my reselling business. And it was the inventory storage system, and it was the SKU system. And for anyone that doesn't know it, it was daily refinements, box method / SKU system. Like it saves so much time. It's like the only reason why someone would be picking the wrong item is if I've labeled it not right. So I couldn't even blame the person picking it. But yeah, what Leanne said there about the SKU system, yeah, it's a game changer. That's probably, it was that and something else that we were speaking about. And I can't remember the other one, but the SKU system, Jesus Christ, for me, probably number one.
Yeah, and I know with my Leanne spot on there, because I know with my SKU, for the clothing items, Leanne would have no problem. When I say Leanne, my Leanne would have no problem picking the items. But in my other unit, where it's all in crates and all in boxes, it's slightly different SKU. She'd probably struggle a bit with that. So yeah, you're spot on. The SKU system is so important, not just for other people, but for yourself as well. If you've got a SKU system, everything is so much quicker.
Yeah. Just systems in general. And I know I spoke about it earlier, but just having them down where it's so easy to pass over. And I'll give an example of this right now. Simon, I taught my son, this is what he's saying, by the way, I taught my son how to ship when I went away on holiday for 2 weeks. Easiest part of the job, to get someone else to do it. And I'd really want to know as well, Simon, if you can follow up with that, how long it took your son. This is probably from zero, him knowing nothing. How long did it take you to teach your son how to? Oh no, he went away for 2 weeks. So how long did it take you to teach your son how to do this? And what was it easy? And like, if he can go away for 2 weeks as well, and then his son's doing it, I don't know how old your son is as well, but yeah, like if your systems are down to a T, and I know Simon's is, I know he's got the same SKU system. I know he does his photos the same way as us as well. I know he picks the same way. He uses a camera instead of we use our phones, but that's probably the only difference. If he can teach his son how to do it, I think we can easily pass this over to someone else as well.
Yeah, I said it took no more than an hour. He's 20 years of age.
Yep, no more than an hour, and he was away for 2 weeks, and I'm guessing there was no issues or anything like that as well. So let us know if there was any issues, but I'm pretty sure there probably wasn't. So yeah. And then John just saying about SKU systems foolproof and the best thing ever. Best thing I've done in my business. The ability to not lose anything and go straight to the item to save the time. Yeah, it's foolproof pretty much. I prefer vintage shipping. Just download the app and stick on the parcel. I love the way that they do the shipping on there.
Isn't it? I guess it's not the same because there's probably more options on eBay. Because when I read that, I was thinking like, what's the same as eBay? I click on the item and just download it from the first page. But I guess it takes all of the options away. It's just like you click download, up it comes, and then I think I've only sold 2 things on Vinted, I believe, maybe 3 things on Vinted. But yeah, I guess it takes all of the options away, because I think that's the most confusing thing. If you've got someone to look after your shipping, there is so many options with sizes, with measurements, with options for the postage as well. Like Leanne would probably send everything through like DPD or something for like £8 an item.
It's so expensive.
10 kg for a t-shirt. I'll come back to skin.
Yeah, buy a pace for it and then you just stick the label on. I mean, that's it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like it, and I think they're going to be bringing out I don't know when or if they even are, but I think it's in France at the minute, a Vinted Pro. So I think they're going to allow pro sellers on there.
Can I ask your thoughts on Vinted? Because I've seen a lot of people recently selling on Vinted. Like when they do their end of month review, they've got eBay, they've got Depop, whatnot, which is obviously a super popular moment, and Vinted, and they're like, "Oh, I've sold X amount on Vinted." Do you sell on Vinted, and are resellers allowed to sell on Vinted? Because I thought resellers weren't allowed. I'm sure George Ross got banned for selling on there as a reseller, or have I just missed it? Are we allowed to sell on there now?
Mate, it's absolutely terrifying, and I'm honestly worried every time someone does that, because I'm like, yeah, if you're floating a few things through, and you're selling like a couple a month or probably maybe even like a couple a week, but you're not supposed to sell on there as a business seller. So as soon as you start putting like the same background, like SKU numbers in there, and you're selling like a couple a week or maybe even like a couple a day or something, there's a lot of people that have sold a lot of items on there and they have not been banned. But
So
I mean, what exactly that? Speeding but just not getting caught. And yeah, like to me, it's not worth it because it's such a good buying platform in terms of sourcing for me that I just wouldn't run the risk of the account just completely going. And I get it, it's brilliant because there's no fees. And you know, it's quite a simple process. It's a great app, it's a great company. But if you get caught then and your account goes completely, like for instance, George, and you're completely permanently banned, like it's just not worth it. And it scares me every time I see it. So yeah. What do you think then? Have you sold a few items on there, or?
I think I've sold 2 items on there, but I'm the same as you, because I do see a lot of people talk about like Vinted sales offline, and I'm like, that's why I asked you, like, have I just missed the fact that now you're allowed? Because the only thing I remember is the whole George thing where he got banned, and I think he's back on it now. I think it took him a while to get back on it, but I think he's back on it now. But I didn't know if you got banned for selling on there, can you still use it to buy? Because that's my biggest fear. I don't care about if I get banned for selling on there, no stress. But if they suddenly said you can't buy either, I've got to think of a whole new model right now.
Your account's gone. So yeah, you can't. And then it's just, yeah, for me, like it's so important for sourcing that, yeah, I just wouldn't be doing that. And then, I mean, wait, is the cross-selling, this is really dangerous as well. So the cross-selling apps, which, what is it called again? The main one that everyone uses?
Zip sale.
Is Vinted a platform that you can select on that?
Let's do the old Google machine check. Let me see. Zip sale.
Google machine doesn't lie, mate.
Marketplaces. Poshmark. Oh, that's no good. They've got Vinted. They've actually got Vinted on there.
See, it's just that should not be on there, because it's like, I know people want to, I personally don't cross this for various different reasons, but people will be like Depop, people will be like, yeah, and then Vinted being what, Facebook, whatever. But then like you cross this and you're thinking it's okay, but say you're doing that for X amount of items per day and then you get banned. Yeah, it's not good. That they should definitely, because Zip Sale was very popular as well.
Let's not go down the listing conversation. We can have a whole podcast on that.
Yeah, that's for another day. Donna, it's definitely not allowed, but I would just set up another buyer account if I got banned. Vinted sales are flying. For some people, they are flying. I mean, when I never see eBay get topped. I mean, it's very rare that I see eBay sales get topped by Vinted sales for people, just when they do put these posts on. But Vinted is always up there. I mean, it's always above Depop, it's always above the Facebook, it's always above everything else. So, yeah. But I mean, I don't know how many sales as well Donna's getting as well, but I would just be extremely careful. But she did say I would just set up another buyer account if I got banned. So in the very early days, I actually put something on Vinted, and it was because I was unaware of the authenticity of an item. And then eventually it was actually checked and it was legit. But I got banned on there. So I was fully banned on Vinted. And then, yeah, like I managed to get back on there. But if you then set up another account and they catch you setting up another account with the same name or same bank details or same address, then you get permanently banned. So as
And
long
she's
as
saying
that second account is not, I mean, God knows.
And she's saying further down there, she's in, don't highlight, we don't want to call people out, but she's in someone's shoe chat, and there's about 10 people on there. There are people on there with 10 plus Vinted accounts. Look, at the end of the day, we're only here to tell you what we do. Just remember that, as I said earlier, we've all gone 31 miles an hour in a 30 zone. And if you come in the chat and say, never, you're lying. Yeah, just be careful is what I will say.
Yeah, I'm going to move on from that. All right, they're already C's and C's. Yeah, it's not live yet. I know. I think it's in France. I've spoken to a few people where it's it's in France, but not over here yet. And then right, t-shirt suntan, Alan. So the day they allow resellers to sell on Vinted is the day it dies as a sourcing platform. So let's pray.
How funny we spoke about this earlier, didn't we? And I disagree. I don't normally disagree with Alan because he likes his boxing. I think he could probably throw a few punches at me. No, I'm joking.
Got to be careful here.
Got to be careful with Alan. Dangerous man. But no, joke aside, I disagree. I actually feel that what happens is a lot of resellers will sell on Vinted. But like with anything else, like with car boot sales, with eBay, with all these other sites, there's also still going to be the general public who are going to list their items under market. So that's why I disagree. I think it's still going to be a viable source to source stock on. And what it will do, you watch when Vinted Pro comes out, it's going to be talk of the town. Everyone's going to be talking about it. All these YouTubers are going to be on their videos talking about Vinted Pro, me included. But I don't think it's going to actually kill the platform, in my humble opinion.
Yeah.
And Alan, don't come and beat me up.
I sell personal items on Vinted, but I do have a few business ones. Some people clearly have a full business on there, and their username is, for example, vintage clothing. Yeah, I mean, if you're selling the one-off or whatever, my missus uses it loads. She loves it. It's her favorite, well over eBay, because of the ease of listing. Like it's amazing. Like if I go onto the app or if I go onto the desktop and I go onto eBay and I pretend that, or even now, if I look at it, I'm just like, there's so much to do for one listing. Whereas Vinted, I think it's about 4 or 5 like boxes that you like tick, and then you just do a little description.
Maybe we're the ones missing a trick. Maybe everyone's selling on Vinted and there's me and you like, you can't do it. We've been told you can't. George Ross got banned, and maybe like everyone's just doing it. It's fine. But I know the one time I list a couple of items on Vinted, I'll get the message. It'll be me who gets called, and you'll be like, yeah, you can't. You're a reseller. You can't list, especially with a YouTube presence as well. Like,
it's just I use it so much, and if anyone uses it as much as me, it's just, in my eyes, it's not worth losing.
Yeah.
And like to go through I had to go through using my missus account, and like I don't want the hassle of like transferring money and using a different card. And yeah, so like the 10 plus Vinted accounts, I mean, does that have to be under a stupid amount of like different names, different cards, different because they track IP addresses as well? And yeah, oh god. Right, anyway, I'm done, mate. I'm so done.
I wish I never asked you the question, but do you know what? We'll finish a Vinted conversation, because reseller Georgie's thing at the bottom is completely right. Go slow and low with Vinted. Stay under the radar, and with anything, if you can stay under the radar, amazing. That's the key. But I'm with you. If I didn't use Vinted for sourcing, I would definitely be listing on there. I'll be chucking stuff up there. I don't cross list, but there'll be stuff where I'm like, oh, do you know what? I don't know this eBayable. Let me chuck on Vinted for a $5 now. Because I agree, like the whole postage thing's really quick and easy. But there's no way I'm willing to sell something on Vinted for £100 and risk potentially buying hundreds and thousands of pounds of stuff for my business.
If I sourced like 100% on eBay and like car boots combined, and I had no kind of like interest in buying on Vinted or whatever, then yeah, go for it, because I don't care if it goes. But yeah, and then just going back to the zip sale thing as well. So yes, zip sale you can cross list, but he cross lists manually. So you can almost just like avoid that one. Do everything else to Depop, Facebook, whatever you want to do, and then just maybe untick that one or just don't do it on there. So, John was saying there will always be new platforms for sourcing. I'm really excited to see if any more in the future come out because the success of Vinted. Before that, I think there was ones like, what was it? It was Spock, and it was like kind of had a similar branding to it where it was like green. And I think I don't think I ever bought anything on there. I don't know if it's still going.
It is, and eBay gum was the thing. Do you remember eBay gum that was going to take over from eBay?
No, what's that?
It's quite funny. It's a joke within the thing because there was this company called eBay Gum who come onto the scene, and they were basically like similar branding to eBay. It was really weird, and they were like, "Yeah, we're going to do things differently. We're going to do this, do that." And it's so funny because no one's ever come forward to say they've sold an item on eBay Gum. Like people were going hard, like listing on there, but no one was selling items on there. It's weird. But then they got like it's been around for ages. You've got Gumtree and you've got, I mean, Depop at one point. Depop was like booming at one point, and now I don't hear many people using Depop as much anymore. I might be wrong, but all these platforms. I mean, look at Posh. Posh was booming, and then that ended. Now Whatnot's booming. Do I think it's going to end? No, I think it's a better platform than Posh, but that is like the talk of the town at the moment. All I see is people signing up and doing Whatnot streams, which is great for their business. But what's going to come next? There's always going to be things. Always going to be new things coming out. eBay are going to have to up their game. They want to keep up. But I think what I always look at, eBay's always number one. Like when you say there, when I see people post on Instagram, and I love seeing it, where they do their monthly recap of sales, I don't think I've ever seen one where eBay isn't the most.
Yeah. That's what I was saying earlier. I can't. I mean, what is it, 30 years old? Is it around maybe like
Mate, when I was younger on eBay, you had to send like a postal check to get like when you sold an item, someone would send you a postal check that has to clear before then you ship the item to them. That's how old it was.
Yeah, the amount of data, the amount of years, like the amount of, and it is true. Like when Vinted came along, it was like, right, when you look at eBay, what can you see like in terms of what would need to be improved? Maybe the listings and maybe the fees aspect as well. So Vinted comes along, they make it incredibly easy to buy and sell, and they make it 0 fees in terms of selling. And then the buyer has that. They have like the buyer insurance, so they cover it all. So they've made it incredibly easy. That looks like the only way to compete with them. But even after that, I'm just like, you're still going to come nowhere near this giant.
Maybe it'll change one day. I mean, what I want to see is from the people who are on Whatnot, I want to see their breakdowns.
Yeah.
Like, I want someone on Whatnot to basically say, right, because I saw Daz posted something the other day, and I think he said he'd done something like 18 grand on Whatnot, which is incredible in a month. But I want to see someone break it down to say, right, on Whatnot, I spent this amount of time, I made this much. On eBay, I spent this amount of time, I made this much. Like, show me the facts and figures. As long as it's comparable with stuff you're putting on.
Yeah, Benji was just saying Vinted is so orientated around the casual user and the ease of access that resellers will barely change the dynamic, as well as how many people already have things priced at reseller prices or over. Yeah, I think he's kind of reiterating what you were saying earlier, that it wouldn't really change it. And then we've got Andy. It's so easy to sell. No quality is required. How many items have you bought with a full body shape shadow across the item or upside down blurry picture? We joke all the time about people literally running at the item because it's just so blurry. I'm like, how can that be the main photo? It's literally as if someone sprinted during the picture session.
It's like, right, let me place the item up on the board. Now I'm going to go down to the house. I'm going to full sprint with my camera taking photos of the item.
It's mad, isn't it?
Also, I've seen far too many toe pictures on Vinted than I ever want to see. If you're taking photos of items on the ground, keep the toes out of it, please.
Oh, mate. But yeah, that's the thing as well. Where Andy was saying no quality is required, and that's what I love about eBay. The fact that you have to go a bit in depth. With Vinted, I mean, someone could just say very good. I had one that was very good. Apparently, a North Face jacket came, no real description, nothing, and I always follow up and I always say like, is there any wear? Is there any marks? Anything like that?
Yeah.
And it'll come through the door and it'll just be torn apart. And I'm like, this is their very good. So the whole no quality thing is so annoying sometimes because it's their opinion, isn't it?
while we've got Andy up on screen, just want to say shout out to Andy for his kind words on Text Podcast with me the other day. Really appreciate that, mate. Talking about Luke and I and stuff. So yeah, it does get noticed.
Yeah, and I love the breakdowns that Andy's doing every single month as well. At the end of the month, he'll break everything down and basically put his sales amount, put his ASP, which is always incredible. I think it's always at least £30, which is crazy. It's something that I aspire to get to as well. AC Global reselling, always doing a cracking job, mate.
Absolutely.
He was also saying something down here. Does anyone remember the original auction platform competing with eBay in the early days? I think it was called QXL. Do you remember that?
I remember something called like, Luke, you got to remember, I'm only like 5 years or 6 years older than you. Yeah, you're making it like so old. QXL. I do remember something called QXL or around it. I couldn't remember if it is QXL, but I remember there was a platform competing with eBay a while ago. Was it QXL? I don't remember. I know there was another auction site. There used to be an auction site called Bid Up, maybe Bid Up.
Yeah.
And there was like Bid.tv, I think was one of them. God, now we're going back. This is like AOL days where you had to like unplug your telephone line, plug it into the internet router to get internet. And if someone called, it disconnected the whole lot.
The scary thing for me is asking my friends and family who do buy secondhand clothing. 85% are buying on 85% are buying on Vinted, especially my younger relatives. I hope eBay modernizes to keep up. And that's the thing that I really like asking them as well. When I go to the events or the seminars or anything like that, just their ways of promoting and their ways of getting the stuff out there, because they are now using stuff like Love Island, partnering with Vogue as well, using influencers like, I can't remember her name. I think it might be Amy at the minute who was on Love Island, and I think Tom as well. But yeah, just ways that they can get through to the younger generation, because Vinted making stuff so easy. They got the TV ads as well. It's just I don't want them to fall behind. So
yeah, it's right though, because when you think about buying clothes, if you're going to buy secondhand clothes, say you want a secondhand jumper or something, where do you go to? Because I admit I don't ever buy. I hardly buy anything from eBay, and this is someone who sells full time on eBay. It's either Amazon or if I'm going to buy clothing now, like I'll go on Vinted and try and get something for myself. It's funny, isn't it? It's true.
Yeah, and I was just reading Andy's comment as well. Shell made a good point the other day. Do you or any of your friends buy clothes from eBay or Vinted? Nearly all said Vinted only. Who is buying from us on eBay? I don't necessarily. I mean, when I'm buying stuff on Vinted, the stuff that I'm selling, I'm kind of naturally drawn to as well. So if it fits me perfectly and it looks good, sometimes I just keep it. So I don't necessarily buy it for myself, but I don't do that on eBay. But I think that's because I don't source on there really that much. But Vinted is just great for it.
There is obviously people who do buy on eBay, but yeah, I see that point, because I'm the same. Like if I buy something, if it fits well, I might keep it for a few weeks and then sell it. But most of the stuff I buy now, I sell. I'm quite basic when it comes to clothing.
Yeah, I mean, literally, like right now, I think you've got it on as well. Just like plain black t-shirt. I've just got plain t-shirts. Yeah, like, do you want to get the logo? You know, like what you've done with your hoodie, where you got the bold finds. I really want to do that for like t-shirts and like hoodies, but like maybe like a big embroidery in the middle or something like that.
I want to get a Bold Crimes one next. Come on.
Yeah, get some sort of uniform on the show as well. Well, just for me in general, anyway.
I might just wear a 3-piece suit now when I do my listings. Why not? Back to the office days.
What John's saying here, so eBay has an older demographic. I'd love to know some sort of figures or just something, just where we can find out what the generation is buying on there. But how do you think that eBay could? Do you think market into a younger generation?
Like, look at Love Island.
Yeah.
They're their main sponsor for this. And like, I haven't watched Love Island for years, by the way. But it's very like down with the youth and like eBay this, eBay that. Because Vinted done it with Big Brother, didn't they? They were the main sponsor for Big Brother. So these companies are trying to get in with the younger generation. Like eBay is seeing that now. eBay is seeing that, do you know what? We need to appeal to younger people to come and buy clothes from eBay. But I think if they done the live auction thing on eBay and got some cool, like young, good-looking people like me, basically good-looking people to come and do shows on eBay selling clothing, it would attract that audience. But Jokes. That's a joke, by the way, for the people coming in the comments. But if they actually appealed to that audience doing live auctions, I think that could be a big thing.
Oh yeah, and then yeah, what John was saying, eBay must already know this is why they're spending on Love Island. But going through targeting that specific program is epic, because they've had, when did they start that? A couple of years ago, and it's always been like Sheen, Boohoo, like Misguided stuff like that. Always like fast fashion stuff, and to target a program that people probably view more than anything else out there, and especially the younger generation, and then adding on top of that as well influencers from that program, one or two, on top of that, to then maybe do something in terms of like the live selling, bring that over, compete with whatnot, and maybe make listings a little bit easier, then I think
Andy's triggered us just before the end of the live today. It's wound me up a little bit, Andy. Come on.
This one down here,
yeah, that's the one. He knows what he's doing here.
Oh, don't do that. That was the right. So let me read. I'll read it because all I see is bundling. That's my eyes just went straight towards bundling. I would love the bundling more on Vineyard if they brought that back. The automatic postage and purchase. They teased us for that. That weekend was horrific because they go bang. They go 25 offers, or was it 24, 24, 25, whatever, and then they went bang, automatic postage. I was like, mate, you can't take that away from us, because they brought back the 20 plus offers, which is good, but I never use them all anyway. But the bundling is like, it changes the whole business.
Do you remember the messages we were sending each other the moment they took it away? It's like, what's happened to the auto bundle? They've taken it away. And I went on to Reddit and I was reading all about it, because there's a mix. A lot of people were kicking off the people buying that have taken it away. But from the seller's point of view, I see why they did, because they could never, Vinted can't automatically work out how big the label should be, because you've got the small, medium, and large. So a lot of things, some people were bundling like 25 items, and Vinted was putting it down as a small label, so the customer's losing money because it's costing more to post. So I think they'll find out. I think they'll work out an algorithm to make it work. It might be anything over 3 items as a medium. Maybe that's the way
I was thinking, like, on eBay, when you don't really have to, but at the bottom of the listing, you can put in weight and you can put size. But if they made it say like mandatory that you had to do that on Vinted, and then they could kind of calculate it in a way straight away. I just feel like they could possibly do something there, but they know, mate. They know.
Would you like to play the offer game before we finish?
Go on then. All right, what's it up for? What is it?
Right, okay. I wasn't going to tell. Right, I'm just going to say, I'm not going to give you the full thing. North Face jacket listed today. Listed price $94.99. Size small.
Oh.
What's the offer and what would you accept? Come on, chat. So listed today, North Face jacket, $94.99. Listed today, size small. And it's a good one. I'm not going to give you all the information. I'm not going to give all the brands and details away. Let us know in the chat what the offer is and what would you accept.
So if they get it right, they get the full amount, don't they?
Yeah, absolutely. Why not from you?
All right.
There's always a lag now. You've got to wait and see what people are voting.
I'm gonna go 55.
So $94.99 with the $3.99 shipping. Shipping's not free. Don't care what anyone says. And we've got one offer that's came in. When did I list
Simon's going 70, so that's
2 hours ago.
30% off. Benji's going 44. Oh my god. £25 offer, accept 79. Addison's going 50 quid. I'm going 55.
All right. So John's confused me. £25 offer, accept 79.95. So is he saying the offer 79.95 or 25?
I'm probably guessing 70.
Yeah.
I don't know. Can they use a coupon anyway to get that? Because you've probably got.
John, come on. There's no low bowling me that much. Right. Okay. So we've got. What did you say, Luke?
I went 55. Andy's gone 65.
All right. So one of you, including Luke, has got his spot on. John's saying the offer was 25. Yeah, John, you're out. The first person who typed it in the chat was spot on.
Who's that? Simon. 70 quid. That's mate. You got to go back in, yeah? 90 quid.
Yeah, so if I've got it up for 94.99, should I go back and be $3.99 for the counter?
That's a great offer.
Do you know what? Live.
Turn it on loud. Put it on loud.
Oh, hold on.
Oh, get it on
it's
loud.
too
Get it on
late. I
loud.
missed it.
Oh, mate, I wanted to hear it. Right, we done it. That's a great way to end.
Just showed the title, but that's a great way to end, everyone. Accept your offers. That's the advice today. Bobo size. What's Bobo? Like Bobo Backins? Is that what what's Bobo?
Bobo size.
Is that a Welsh thing? What's Bobo mean?
If it's double the money after fees accepted.
Oh, sorry about that, Julie Kaching.
Yeah, I think that's solid, mate. Also, this road arm is unbelievable.
Put me up for that.
And a game changer. But yeah, mate.
Good chat today, mate. I'm glad you are still with us. I'm glad we continue this amazing podcast. Let us know in the comments what you think about. What can we get them to think about? Let us know what you think about.
I want to know people's, like, you know what Alison was saying with like her husband and stuff like that. I just want to know how people protect themselves. It's probably mainly going to be geared towards self-employed people that are doing everything by themselves full time. But I mean, maybe part-timers as well. But I mean, how do people protect themselves if they go down injured or they're quite ill?
Yeah, so we want to know that. So that's what Luke wants to know. And if you are still in here, I need you to comment on this video afterwards. Like it first, but you need to comment the term Bobo, B-O-B-O.
What does that mean?
And next week, all right, we're going to do a bit of give. I'm going to do the giveaway. All right. Bobo, you need to comment the term Bobo to enter. We're going to randomly draw one person who's put Bobo in the comments, and I'm going to send them a £5 Costa gift card for your sourcing trip. You got to comment incredible. Bobo. You got to go Bobo, and then also talk about your emergency plan. Let's get the comments.
Bobo, your emergency plan.
Bobo, emergency plan. And then we're going to draw one of them people next week. We'll do the spinny wheel. Why not? I'll get Luke set up. We'll do the spinny wheel. One person's going to win a £5 Costa gift card for your sourcing, courtesy of me, courtesy of the person who paid £70 for a jacket that I sourced online. So yeah, Bobo, and let us know.
Costa, Starbucks, or Greg's?
What we're talking, like rank them, or we're talking you can choose?
No, I'm just saying. What's your favourite out of them? Because I'm
all right. Let's make it easy.
Controversial with this one.
You got to go Bobo. Your emergency.
Wait, no, we're not.
Listen.
Wait, what is Bobo? Like what?
Bobo means rubbish size. Simon say.
All right.
But you've got to type Bobo. Then you've got to talk about your emergency plan. Then you've got to write either Costa, Starbucks, or Greg's for what gift card you'd like to win if you won. There we are. All that work. Let's get Luke's comment section flying. Share the video. Like the video. Let's get Luke to monetization. Bobo's the word. B-O-B-O.
All right. Mate.
No outro, but we've got Bobo. So love you all.
Bobo sorted the outro. Right. Appreciate you guys. Love you. See you soon.